Hey, everybody, Dr. Doug Smith. It is time for our podcast today, Monday through Thursday. Now, look at the screen. Let's just kind of review a little bit about how we got to this point in time where we're looking at the importance of the package insert of Oxycontin. Remember, we were talking about the fact that, hey, Oxycontin was not even 4% of the prescription volume during the opioid crisis. The highest it ever got was 3.7. It was overwhelmingly generic oxycodone and generic hydrocodone. That was overwhelming the opioid crisis. Well, then why does everybody say Oxycontin caused the opioid crisis? Which, by the way, we're on that bandwagon too. We're not disagreeing with that statement. Okay. Well, wait a minute. How can you be responsible for an opioid crisis when you're only 3.7% of the prescriptions at your peak? Okay. And the answer, you're hearing this from us before you've heard it from anybody else. Okay. Oxycontin did its damage through the package insert. Let me say that again. Oxycontin did its damage through the package insert because the package insert solved the Percocet problem. The Percocet problem was that the maximum daily dosage of oxycodone set by the standard of care, okay? And that was the Percocet problem, okay? These guys had 1,000,000 kilos of oxycodone in the warehouse, okay? We talk about it in the book. They had 1,000,000 kilos of oxycodone. Okay, it came mainly from what we consider to be illegal narcotic raw material coming out of Australia. Okay, and now they got to sell it. Why do they have to sell it? Because if you don't sell it, you don't make money. That's what this whole thing was about. It was just a scheme to make money. Okay, and y'all are just victims. Okay, actually, you weren't just victims, you were the source of the money. They didn't care about you as people, they cared about your money. Okay, and do you know how long it's going to take to sell 1,000,000 kilos? That's 1,000,000,000,000 milligrams. Do you know how long it's going to take to sell and move 1,000,000,000,000 milligrams with a maximum daily dosage of 60 milligrams a day? You ain't going to make any money. You'll make millions, but you won't make billions. These guys wanted the billions, which means now you got to solve the Percocet problem. Okay, well, how are you going to solve the Percocet problem? It's the standard of care. Well, okay, but standard of care is set by the package insert. See where we're going here, folks? Okay, we need a new drug. Well, let's call it Oxycontin. Hey, by the way, that Purdue company, they got MS Contin going off patent. Okay, they're going to be looking for something to do. Okay, they've got some experience with time-released opioids. Let's make a time-released opioid instead of MS Contin. We'll call it Oxycontin. MS Contin was morphine sulfate contin. Oxycontin was oxycodone contin. We'll call it Oxycontin. And what we really need is a really, really big dose. That's what we need. Okay. And folks, you're looking at it on your screen right there. Now remember, Oxycontin was twice a day. Okay. So now you have a brand new standard of care, courtesy of the package insert of Oxycontin. Overnight, the Percocet standard of care changes from a maximum of 60 milligrams a day now to a maximum of 320 milligrams a day. Now we can finally make some money. Now we can finally move 1,000,000 kilos of oxycodone. Hallelujah. Unbridled capitalism. That's what this is. This is unbridled capitalism. This is capitalism making the rules. Let's make this clear. Physicians were not calling for a new standard of care for oxycodone. Physicians were not saying we've got to have a new standard of care for oxycodone. We've got to have a 320 milligram a day maximum of oxycodone. Physicians were not calling for that. That didn't come from physicians. And let's be clear, patients weren't calling for a 320 milligram new standard of care for oxycodone. So this didn't come from physicians. And it didn't come from patients. And it didn't come from hospitals. This came purely and solely from the capitalistic drive of the pharmaceutical companies, manipulating the FDA in what in the book we label as the useful idiots. Remember Wednesday we talked about the useful idiots. Well, this is what the useful idiots did. Okay, they pushed out 160 milligram Oxycontin tablet. Why? Because they're useful idiots. Because physicians needed it? No. Because patients needed it? No. Because hospitals needed it? No. because the pharmaceutical industry needed it. And the FDA served the role as the useful idiot. Well, certainly they did testing on it, right? No. In fact, tomorrow we will look at the letter from the director of CEDAR, Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. One of the useful idiots that we label her as a useful idiot in the book, Dr. Janet Woodcock. One of the useful idiots. We will review her letter tomorrow. Her letter to Senator Hassan. It's 22 pages. I invite everybody to read it. Actually, we're going to pull the third sentence off of page 3 under the heading of the 80 and 160 milligram tablets. I've got this stuff memorized, folks. Okay, and we will see that the FDA says we didn't do any additional testing on the 160 milligram tablet. No further efficacy testing was necessary. That's the exact quote. No further safety testing, no testing on nothing. Why? Because they are the useful idiots and the pharmaceutical industry needed it. You know how hard it is to move 1 trillion kilos of oxycodone? Come on, we need your help. Otherwise, how are we going to make billions of dollars? We need that 160 milligram tablet of Oxycontin, and don't you dare test it. Don't you dare test it. Okay, that's going to take time, and we don't know what the results of the testing will be. So they pushed it out untested, and they pushed it into the package insert. Now, we're going to close here, okay? But tomorrow, we will talk about how physicians trusted that package insert, and we trusted that any change in the package insert, it was our expectation. As a physician, I am a physician, it was our expectation that any and every change in the package insert was thoroughly evaluated by the FDA. And we trusted the FDA to do that. And they didn't do it. All right, we will hold here for today. Okay, we will be back tomorrow. Please, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media, everybody else's social media. The book is coming along fantastically. In fact, everything's coming along fantastically. Everybody have a great afternoon. And we will see y'all again tomorrow. Bye-bye.